Mixed martial arts fans, let's talk about tomorrow night. Slick Wizard here. Alright, in a Yahoo News article I saw the other day had, the UFC president Dana White talking about how he has been a wreck recently, and, one can understand that since the UFC and, hold on. Yeah, it got dark. And just Zuffa entirely has put all of their eggs into this one basket. I'm of course talking about tomorrow night, the heavyweight title fight between Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos. Free on network television for the first time on Fox. And, you know, two giants, one title, no mercy, all that stuff. And, I can tell that Dana White is really hoping that this fight turns out to be something memorable, something good, and hopefully it lasts longer than 30 seconds. So, let's talk about this. You know, ever since Cain Velasquez showed up at the UFC and defeated Brad Morris, and then Jake O'Brien, both TKO in the first round, you can tell that Zuffa and everyone else, they saw something special with the undefeated Mexican-American heavyweight. From the AKA gym, trains with Daniel Cormier, an outstanding wrestler, NCAA Division I, wrestled at 285 pounds, came in 4th place at the Arizona State University, 5th place back in 2005, and the 2010 MMA Live Fighter of the Year. And unbeaten in his campaign at 9-0 since crushing Brock Lesnar. After his first two finishes in the UFC, even, Cain Velasquez was featured on the front cover and on the poster of UFC Fight Night Live, Joe Lozon versus Jeremy Stevens, and Cain Velasquez's opponent Denis Stoynik was not. But anyway, beat Chet Congo, Ben Rothwell, knocked out Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, and finally Brock Lesnar to get the belt, and he'll be defending it for the first time. It feels like it's been ages since Cain Velasquez last fought, even though it's been about just a year or so since he beat Brock Lesnar back in 2008. And I'm sure I picked him to win all of his fights every time. But before I get down to what I think is going to happen in the fight, let's talk about his opponent, Junior Dos Santos. He stands at about the heavyweight wrecking machine stands 13-1, and since he showed up at UFC 90 and essentially assassinated Fabricio Verdum, pulled off the upset there, knocked him out quickly, and knocked him out of the UFC for some reason, mostly due to Randy Couture coming back. People like to say that, so-and-so has been on a tear and has been tearing it up. Junior Dos Santos really has been doing that, and quite frankly, I'm surprised that Junior Dos Santos hasn't gotten his heavyweight title shot sooner. But, knocked out Fabricio Verdum, knocked out Stefan Struve, beat Mirko Cro Cop the first time I ever saw him fight, beat Gilbert Yvel, Gabriel Gonzaga, Roy Nelson, and Shane Carwin. I've also picked him pretty much every time to win. And out of all those, he has only gone to a unanimous decision 2 times, while Cain Velasquez has gone to a unanimous decision only 1 time in his career against Chet Congo. Roy Nelson and Shane Carwin also are the only guys that have gone the distance with Junior Dos Santos, with Dos Santos' only loss being to Joaquin Ferreira. We know what Junior Dos Santos is about, even though we haven't seen his entire... we have not seen Junior Dos Santos' entire game yet. He's great with his hands. He puts together fast, quick, powerful combinations. He has a lightning-fast right uppercut. Pretty good head movement. He plods around the ring a bit, kind of like BJ Penn. He stands very flat-footed, and he's very powerful. But the big question mark with him is his conditioning and his cardio. Because in his 2 fights in which he has gone the distance, he as the fight goes on, if he cannot knock his opponent out quickly in the first round or the second round, he starts to tire, and he gets very... He moves slower, his punches don't look as powerful, and he becomes very hittable. Roy Nelson, even though he took a vicious beating from Junior Dos Santos in the first round and in the second round, he was actually able to tag Junior a couple times in the third round. And Shane Carwin, too, even though he was a bloody mess and looked, just completely obliterated. It looked like he was missing part of his nose also in that fight. Shane was still able to land strikes and to put pressure on Dos Santos, so that is what Cain Velasquez has to do to win this fight. And the problem for Junior Dos Santos in this fight is that Cain Velasquez has great cardio, he's never gassed, and according to his teammates, including at AKA, they have to keep bringing people in over and over again to, train with Cain Velasquez because he keeps exhausting everyone. And Velasquez has great striking too, but I think Velasquez mixes things up better than Junior Dos Santos does in terms of using leg kicks, high kicks. He's got the side-to-side head movement too, and the quick combinations. So I think really, in all things being equal, because Cain Velasquez will be coming into this fight with a shoulder injury, which is the only thing that I'm worried about. A rotator cuff injury. That's why he's been out for a year. The only thing I see hurting Cain Velasquez in his fight is his shoulder, and with the possibility of Junior Dos Santos being the only guy out of the two that can put together faster, quicker combinations, particularly in the first round. So what do I think is going to happen? I see Cain Velasquez acting like he's going to strike, and then I see him getting into a clinch with Junior Dos Santos, clinching a lot, going for takedowns, delivering ground and pound, and doing that en route to a late third round stoppage due to punches, with Cain Velasquez defending his UFC heavyweight title and staying undefeated. So, Cain, do your thing, man. Good luck. I said that a lot, I notice. Yeah. And just for the record, I don't know why, I still feel bad about something, and that something is that I have picked Cain Velasquez every time in the past, except for when he fought Brock Lesnar, because I just thought that Brock Lesnar was going to go out there and out-wrestle Cain en route to a unanimous decision, and that was more or less my wishful thinking, because Brock Lesnar is such a big pay-per-view commodity for the UFC that it would have been to their benefit had he stayed the champion. But really deep down I knew that there was no way that Brock was going to beat Cain Velasquez, even if the two were to fight again. Plus Brock Lesnar came out with an awful game plan against Cain. So, there you go. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah, I've got Cain winning this one. Next fight. Ben Henderson versus Clay Guida. I was under the impression that the Ben Henderson-Clay Guida matchup for the #1 contender shot at Frankie Edgar's lightweight belt was going to be only featured on Facebook, which that wouldn't have been a smart marketing move, because if you've got the #1 contender and the #2 contender, and they're gonna fight for a #1 contender matchup, then put it on TV so you can show people the fight and help them get the story about why you should need to watch these two guys. But Dana White has announced that the winner of the Clay Guida-Ben Henderson matchup will get the next title shot against Frankie Edgar. Good one. That's good. So, okay, Clay Guida. Ever since his quick second round, submission choke at the hands of Kenny Florian at UFC 107, he has kind of reinvented his career. He put together a nice 4-fight winning streak, which saw him beating the likes of, Shannon Gugerty, Rafael Dos Anjos, Takanori Gomi, and Anthony Pettis. So, if he wins this one, he will most certainly get the title shot, and it's something that I know that he wants. He's been very vocal about it, and I didn't like the way he fought against Anthony Pettis. I didn't think that fight was boring, but I think that the critics were right in criticizing Clay Guida's performance, since he mostly just held on to Anthony Pettis, the former WEC lightweight champion. and just kind of held on for dear life, hit him with shoulder punches, and beat him by decision. So I don't see there being a finish in the Ben Henderson-Clay Guida fight, because both of these guys are so tough, they're so durable, and they, just put up such an intense pace. I don't see this really being finished unless Ben Henderson somehow finds a way to submit Clay Guida. So Ben Henderson, the last former WEC lightweight champion too, he came into the UFC and beat Mark Bocek, and he really impressed me with his win over Jim Miller. I thought Jim Miller was going to win that one, but Ben Henderson took down Jim Miller, and he didn't just hold position, he beat Jim Miller up and looked very strong, powerful, and imposing in doing it. And he has great submission defense. Jim Miller hit him with a textbook knee bar, and Ben Henderson just gave the okay or the thumbs up to the referee and spun out of it. So what do I see happening in this fight? I think Ben Henderson, this is going to be his time to shine. I see him going out there and putting in a wrestling and judo beat-down clinic on Clay Guida, and I see him taking either a unanimous decision or kind of a close split decision, or finishing Clay with a third-round submission of some sort. There you go. And for the rest of the card, it's mostly going to be on foxsports.com to see it, so I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, so just kind of something kind of different, since some of these fighters, honestly, I don't know, but yeah, half of them I really do know. So Dustin Poirier versus Pablo Garza. I hope Pablo Garza wins this, because he looked good in his submission victory at UFC 129, but I'm going to pick Dustin Poirier to win by either decision or TKO third round, because I think he's the much better striker here, and he has much better submission defense. And for the rest, I'm going to pick Cub Swanson to defeat Ricardo Lamas, DeMarcus Johnson to defeat Clay Harvison. Kid Yamamoto's back too. Lost his first fight against Demetrius Johnson. In retrospect, there was no way Kid Yamamoto was going to win that one. But I'm going to pick Noformo Yamamoto to finally get a win in the UFC to defeat Darren Uyaniyoma. I know I'm probably butchering that spelling. By decision also. I'm going to pick Mackenzie Seminar to defeat Robert Peralta. Cole Escovedo to defeat Alex Caceres by first round submission. I don't get why Bruce Leroy is still with the UFC. He's not that exciting or that interesting of a fighter, so I don't know why. Maybe his contract's not up yet. And I'm going to pick Mike Pierce to defeat Paul Bradley. Mike Pierce has been looking pretty good, actually. And Aaron Rosa versus Matt. I'm going to pick Aaron Rosa to defeat Matt Lucas. That's good. Fox, UFC Fox Live, running out of space and memory. So that's it right now. Next week we got Shogun versus Henderson. Keep it real, guys. Slickface Wizard signing off. Bye.